Let's review how my 30-day sketchbook challenge went. Hello everybody, I'm Nicole, these are my rabbits, and welcome to Sketching with Rabbits. The 30-day sketchbook challenge is officially over, so let's go ahead and take a moment to review the entire challenge. This first drawing you guys already saw in my last video about the sketchbook challenge. For day 2, I decided to draw my mascot, which is still kind of a work in progress since her design is not really official yet. One challenge I had was drawing on the edge of the sketchbook because I'm not really used to my hand having a ledge to kind of draw over. Normally I just draw on a single piece of paper, so there's no obstacle or ledge to go over. So that was a little bit of a challenge drawing inside of a sketchbook. For day 3, I decided to do something inspired by Lisa from Blackpink in her Rockstar music video. I struggled with the pose a little bit. You'll see in the video where I'm sketching the original pose that it's definitely different from the final. And I also used these etcher pens that I received but never did a video on. But I really like them and I used them a few more times in this challenge. For day 4, this was inspired by a YouTuber named Gab Smolders, and I was watching her Stardew Valley gameplay while I was drawing. So this is one of the outfits that she wore, and one thing that actually really was difficult for me to draw was the top of the hat, and it still looks very distorted to me, but I kind of gave up on it. I did like adding the little gold accents though. I think it's really fun, and you'll kind of see that throughout the rest of the drawings too. For day 5, I actually started to think I should try and practice other things than what I'm comfortable with. So the initial thought for this drawing was just draw someone facing right. Because if you look at the previous drawings, they're all facing left, which is kind of my comfort angle. And then the next thought was that I haven't drawn a mermaid in a while, so I decided to draw a mermaid. And I had an awkward hand pose, so I gave her magic because that's the easiest way to make it less awkward. For day 6, my goal was to draw something non-human. So I decided to draw cats. These are all from references, so I just googled cat photos or cats and I tried to study them and interpret them in kind of a style because I wasn't really going for realism, but I did want to study and see their anatomy, so this is the cat study. So for days 7 and 8, this is where I started realizing that it's really difficult to draw when you come back from work and you're really tired. I use a tool called Handy, and it's an artist reference tool where it's basically just a hand, and I believe they also have feet and heads if you want to use those. But one of the cool things about it is the hand model that's in the app is rigged, so you can move it and change the fingers and the angle and the lighting and everything to how you want it. So for the first page, I just used their default hand poses. They have a few that are set already and I didn't really want to make my own. So I chose a few that were a little more challenging for me just because these angles are not ones I typically do. And then for day 8, you can see I started using references for hands holding objects, and these ones I found on Pinterest. They will have plenty to choose from and they're great for practicing. So for day 9, you can see there are more cats, but this time I did not use any reference photos. I was trying to experiment and see how would I make a cat into a cartoon. So for day 10, as you can see, it is fully lined and colored. And this is because it was my weekend, so I did not have to go into work. For this piece, I decided to redraw an old art piece, which is actually on DeviantArt. and it is of a Pokemon character who is the daughter of a daycare center owner. The original I made back in 2012, so over 10 years ago, and I did change some of the Pokemon just to make it a little more cozy, because the original I created with the thought of some of my favorite Pokemon, but also like her team. So for day 11, I browsed my DeviantArt and I found some My Little Pony original characters that I made back in 2016. So I decided to draw them. Although, to be honest, the only one that's actually my character is this one. I actually like my original drawing back in 2016 compared to this one. So for day 12, I had a pretty bad headache, so I didn't really draw much or film it. The idea was to make sticker designs for endangered animals, because the original idea for this channel was actually to help spread awareness about animal welfare and endangered animals. So this is kind of taking a step forward in that direction. For day 13, I was inspired by an artist on Instagram who's really good at drawing expressions, so I just wanted to try my hand at it. For day 14, this was a horse study, and it kind of looks like I drew this one first, but I actually drew this one first, and then I wanted to try and make a simplified version, so I drew that one. Day 15, probably the only day where I had the least amount of effort, and at the halfway point, which kind of shows where my motivation dipped. So none of these are finished, as you can tell, but I was drafting some poses for Mermaid this year, and maybe you can recognize some designs, but I have a few ideas I'm going to try out. Day 16, I decided to practice drawing flowers, and flowers are definitely a weak point for me. I was trying to practice, I used reference photos. When I was finished with this page, I actually hated it. I did not like how it looked. I didn't think any of it turned out good. And I think it's that idea of wanting everything to be aesthetically pleasing and pretty. And I'm still struggling to get over that and to work on that. But the next day I did come back to it, and I thought that they don't look that bad. So maybe it was just in the moment I was getting frustrated with drawing flowers, or maybe because I wasn't understanding it that I was not seeing that they looked fine. Now this spread is a little bit funny because you can see day 18 is here and day 17 is here. So I drew this one first, and I didn't draw it on this page because I knew I wanted to add alcohol markers, and we all know how alcohol markers bleed through pages, and that is no exception for this book. I wanted to draw someone thinking, but also because I was watching a lot of Nancy Drew gameplay from Gab Smulders, which I love her YouTube channel and I love her long videos. They're great to put in the background. So this drawing is inspired by Nancy Drew. And then because I didn't want to waste a page, I wanted to use this page because otherwise I would not have used it. So for day 18, I decided to do a fox study. This was actually inspired by an artist on Instagram that I follow for a very long time, and she's done a lot of line work sketches and sketched a lot in pen. So I wanted to give it a try and just see how it would turn out. I like a few of these. I don't like them all, but it's a good practice to sketch in pen. So for day 19, I did a similar idea to the foxes, where I sketched everything in pen, no pencil, but this time I added a little bit of alcohol marker just to kind of accentuate the patterns and fur on the dogs. Day 20, you can see I kind of have a pattern here, so I did a frog study. The main difference between this one and the previous one is that I used color pencils afterwards to add some color. I thought it would be fun to use a different medium. And I'll be sure to list and link all the materials I used in all these drawings in the description down below. Going even further down, I drew jellyfish this time. And it was because I asked my husband, what should I draw? And he said something from the sea, and then he said jellyfish. One of them, this one, is called a fried egg jellyfish, and we only discovered it was a real one because he's been playing the game Dave the Diver, and there is a jellyfish in there named the fried egg jellyfish. So we googled it to make sure it was real, and it is. So this one was kind of a fun one. I did both day 22 and 23 in the sections because I do not want to do the whole thing in one day. So I just sketched one half one day and then I filled up the rest because I also didn't want to waste paper on the second day. So if you know me, you also know I do not really draw guys. This page was so I could practice drawing different characters, different face shapes, angles, hairstyles, whatever. Something that's not my typical style. I use those same etcher pens that I used previously here, and they have 6 colors, so I use the brush pen to add all the colored boxes, which I like the overall effect. Day 24 was basically me first wanting to draw a lot of eyes, but also trying to plan an eye tutorial. I have done one in the past. It was a very long time ago, and I'm pretty sure I can improve it and add on to it. So this is part of the planning. If you're interested in seeing that in the future, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you're notified of when that comes out. Day 25 and 26 was kind of a fun one because I drew day 25 at the end of the week and then I posted it. So when I posted it, she was all alone. And then the next Instagram post would have her with a buddy. Although proportion-wise, I did not plan it very well, but that's what happens when you don't plan your drawings. When I don't plan my drawings. Day 27, I used a random word generator, and the 2 words it came up with was mushroom and mouse. So I made little mice hanging out under a mushroom in a storm. And then for day 28, the word that I chose was practice. And I thought it was fitting because this whole challenge was so that I could practice drawing more and improve my drawing. Day 29 and 30, you probably recognize them. I just wanted to draw little versions of Cinderella and Belle. I think they turned out cute though, and I think it'd be fun to draw the other princesses as well. And finally, for the last day, day 31, I actually didn't know what to draw. This idea was from my husband. He suggested that I draw a snake, and at first I was a little confused because I thought he just meant like one of my previous studies, but he said it's because of Chinese New Year, and it would kind of ring in the new year and also close out the sketchbook challenge with a good ending. So I like that idea, and I drew these 2 snakes based off reference photos, and then I tried to add some calligraphy over there. So that wraps up the sketchbook challenge. As you can see, I have not drawn anything since. I think it was a fun challenge to do, but one thing that I did realize was that if I try and force myself to draw every single day, even when I don't feel like it starts to feel like a chore, which is not great because that's not what I would want myself to feel like when I draw. So I think I'm going to have to limit it to not every single day, but either only on the weekends or when I feel like it, but I don't want to go back to hardly ever drawing. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and hopefully found it at least a little inspirational to maybe try this challenge. Try drawing for a week straight instead of 30 days and see how that goes. Or maybe only dedicate a week to just practicing things you're not comfortable with. I think it's a good challenge to help yourself improve. So I hope this inspired you to try drawing new things as well. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Keep creating cottontails. I will see you in the next video. What's funny is that if you look at my DeviantArt, I did a lot of pony commissions on Gaia Online, and I feel like all those words just aged me. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video. That is not my outro. Why don't I remember my outro? Why did I keep my finger there?